We're here in beautiful Bridgehampton at Art Southampton, another art fair, and I have the pleasure of being here with two of my favorite people in the world, my dear friend and video artist John Zieman, and my pug dog Blessed. Anyway, and Blessed's just here for the ride. But John, I wanted to talk to you about your art here. I remember going to one of your openings in New York, way downtown, many, many years ago, and I'm certainly not an expert in the field, but I would call you a pioneer in this burgeoning art arena of video art. Tell me about when you started doing it, what inspires you. Tell me about the whole process.
So I started doing video art in college, way back, we don't know how many years ago, and I've been doing it on and off ever since, although I've enjoyed a rather robust commercial career, which takes away, and yet it gives. It feeds my style and my taste level, and I make these decisions every day for other people, and I just always eager to do my own thing. And what would happen if I didn't have a client? What kind of?
Well, tell us your background first of all. Not everybody knows what you do.
Oh, I started
daily.
off doing commercial. I started off doing video art and quickly got sucked into commercial editing, and I do commercials for big companies like United and Fashion and Beauty and beer and banks and. So
big client, Mad Men clients.
Yes, and I've been doing this for many years, and I always, whenever I have a break, go back to doing my own work, and I think my skills just get better and better working for other clients, so I enjoy this whenever I have a break, although I'm pretty busy.
Well, I mean, the one I saw last time was trees and birds. You seem to always have this kind of nature.
Yeah, well, I think that might have been the same piece, but it was much larger.
Oh, right.
And I've done other pieces where I projected animated type on bodies with a grant from Aeroflex, then a grant from Panasonic, and they were clothed bodies. And I was enjoying doing that for a long time, but I wanted to also try breaking it up and trying something different. And this piece is about my feelings about the piece is called Weaponized Beauty, and it's my sensations of in the modern world with so many new challenges, what happened to natural beauty and what do we need to do to make beauty speak? We sort of have to weaponize it up. There's that this tension between the new weather that we have, the drones, and and sometimes when you see a beautiful sunset, well, is that pollution or is that extraordinary?
Very cool.
And so these questions it becomes a poetic meditation on beauty and what happens in the modern world.
So what the process is, you just shoot things you piecemeal it together, or do you set aside a day and do everything, or is it just a work in progress all the time and then you kind of cobble all the different scenarios together?
Well, there's different strategies. The ones that I did where I projected type on the body were big 3-day shoots, a lot with the cast, the specific crew times and calls, and a lot, regular film style big production. This here is more diaristic. I get into a mode where I'm going to be making work, and shot over 6 months. And there's some extraordinary footage that's not in here, but there was some extraordinary footage that started to fit this gestalt of what I was trying to say. And there, represents hours and weeks of thinking as well as shooting.
It's wonderful.
Some of it's shot in India, St. Lucia, New York, Boston, and many more locations that I can't think of right now.
So, regarding the history, I'd love to be educated a little bit on the history of video art. Like, when did it start emerging? And it really, I've seen in all of these wonderful art fairs in the Hamptons especially, more and more of it. And people are becoming accustomed to it.
Well, I started doing video art and started paying attention to it way back with the early video artists. I got the privilege of working with Nam June Paik for a number of years in the early 80s. And I had a video synthesizer at that time, and I would grind up video and add color and inject and mix multiple levels of video, and for him, and you see it in his work, it's a very characteristic look which is very well known. Nam June Paik is probably considered the grandfather of video art. He was Korean born and a magnificent cheerleader for this new art form. When I was at Channel 13, I did an omnibus TV show about video art that included clips from all these great video artists and sort of made a documentary about what this new medium was. And I still think people don't have a grasp on it.
Yeah.
A lot of times artists use video in a new way, the way a sculptor might take building materials and put something together that makes no sense to a builder, but as an artist, they work with it. So a lot of times artists just pick up the tools of video and make their own odd piece. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Then there are people that are using heavy amounts of computer and are doing computer visuals, and where all you can say is, I guess that's got to be art because it's not a story or a movie. And so those people are pushing those kind of tool sets toward art, and that becomes very digital art. In France, they call it art numérique.
Art numérique.
Numérique, yeah. So,
and those are the ones that are super enhanced color-wise, and like
probably only could come out of a computer, or might have had a natural image somewhere back there, but
far away.
Yeah, far away. And then there are other people that use it as portraiture or process things where you'll see a painting being painted or a slow-mo, or so there's all different approaches. Anytime you use video tools, you're making video art.
Cool. Who was the guy at one, I think you were there, at one of the Robert Wilson, it was the giant Lady Gaga, just like, it was a portrait of her, just like slowly blinking.
That was probably Robert Wilson's team of video artists. They do some great things with jaguars, with snowy owls.
Yes,
and
yes.
magnificent stuff which you could easily buy and put on your wall and leave there, and it's monumental, but it's not. The question is often, how do we collect video art, and what's it going to be like when it's in my living room?
Right, and what's the intrinsic value of it? No, don't you think people have...
Yeah, but when you have plates falling off paintings and, the crockery, and I mean, that's a bigger discussion. Let's not just...
Yeah, you're right.
Let's not just bore video art with it too much. But the thing is, a lot of this stuff, if it's an installation piece, sometimes the sound is very aggressive, and because it's trying to get attention. And so you see it in a museum, and it's scratchy and aggressive. Well, how do you put that in your living room, and what's that going to mean to your house when you want to shut it off? Can we buy video art and just play it on our own TV at home, and then when we're done, go back to ESPN? These are all kinds of questions. People say, would you sell this to me? Would you install this with and put it in my living room? And then what if the TV changes? Will you update it?
I see.
There's a lot of new issues with video art, but it's also, when you see it in big museums and big libraries, I mean, if you see it in a big museum or a big lobby of an art fair or something, and it's monumental and large, those kinds of works don't really fit in someone's living room, and people love them. And Bill Viola, when you walk into Pippilotti wrist shows and things, it can blow you away.
Yeah.
Doug Aitken. There's a lot of great stuff where you walk in and you go, I love this. This is big, and it's definitely art. It's not a feature film. So
cool.
It can be a lot of different things.
Well, thank you for educating me. I appreciate it.
It's
very,
fun.
very well versed in your artistic field.
It's fun talking to you.
Thanks, John.